All right, let's dive into a topic that honestly catches so many people completely by surprise. It's a chapter of life that's often really misunderstood. We're talking about fertility during perimenopause. And you know what? The story is probably not what you think it is.
So, let's just get right to the big question, right? Is getting pregnant during perimenopause actually a thing, or is it all just some kind of myth?
I want you to consider this real story. A friend of mine in her mid-40s already had 3 kids, recently divorced. She was getting night sweats and just figured, okay, that chapter of my life is over. And then, after what she calls the only one-night stand of her life, she found out she was pregnant. It was a complete and utter shock, and it proves this is absolutely not a myth.
That story, wow. It might sound like something out of a movie, but it's a perfect real-world example of a biological reality that's happening all the time. So let's break down the science behind this whole perimenopausal shift. First things first, what even is perimenopause? Well, it's not like a light switch that just suddenly flips off one day. It's a transition. It's a period that can last for years, where your hormones are all over the place and your body's getting ready for menopause. The key words to remember here are fluctuate and irregular. So here's the main difference. In your 20s and 30s, for most people, things are pretty predictable, right? Your cycles, your ovulation, they're pretty consistent. But during perimenopause, that predictability just goes out the window. Ovulation becomes totally sporadic. It might happen one month, but then who knows about the next?
And this right here is the most crucial point. Unpredictable does not mean impossible. It doesn't mean non-existent. You can still ovulate, and if you do, then pregnancy is, without a doubt, still on the table. This is the misunderstanding that catches so many people completely off guard.
This brings us to a really powerful way of thinking about all this, which I like to call the one-egg principle. It's all about understanding the huge difference between what's statistically likely and what's biologically possible. I heard a fertility specialist say this once, and it stuck with me. It only takes one good egg. It's so simple, but so profound, and it gets right to the heart of the matter. The overall odds might change with age, sure, but the basic biology, that doesn't change. It still just takes one.
One, that's it. Amidst all the noise and all the statistics you hear about declining fertility, this is the only number that really matters for conception to happen. Just one viable egg released at the right time. That's all it takes.
Okay, let's be super clear about the biology here. Yes, it's true your egg reserve is smaller in your 40s, and yeah, the overall quality tends to decrease with age. That's the statistical reality. But, and this is a huge but, your body keeps releasing eggs right up until you hit full menopause. And that means conception is absolutely still possible. We have documented cases of it happening at 45, even 46.
Okay, so we've established it's possible. The logical next question then is, what can you actually do about it? If you're hoping to conceive during this time, how can you support your body and give yourself the best possible shot?
This is where we get practical. Let's talk about your nutritional toolkit. Because honestly, what you're putting into your body can make a really big difference during this stage of life. Here's a simple 4-point plan. Think of these as the pillars of support for your body during perimenopause. We're going to fight stress. We're going to build with the right materials, create balance, and help regulate the whole system. Let's look at each one. First up, your antioxidant arsenal. So think of something called oxidative stress as kind of like rust or just the natural wear and tear on your cells. And our eggs get more vulnerable to that stress as we get older. Antioxidants, they're like little bodyguards protecting those eggs. And you can get them from all the good stuff. Brightly colored fruits and veggies, extra virgin olive oil, nuts, and seeds.
Next up, let's talk about the actual building blocks. Protein is non-negotiable. Your body needs it to make hormones. Simple as that. Then you've got omega-3s from things like fatty fish or algae, which are so important for balancing those hormones and for egg quality. And finally, just keeping your blood sugar stable, with whole grains and balanced meals. That helps the entire system run a whole lot smoother.
And listen, it's not just about what you eat, it's about what your body is actually using. It's so important to get some key levels checked, things like iron and B12, because if you're low, that can really impact ovulation. But most importantly, your thyroid, that little butterfly-shaped gland in your neck. It's like the master conductor of your entire hormonal orchestra. Making sure it's working properly is absolutely crucial. So we've talked about the surprising reality.
the science behind it, and some nutritional strategies. Now let's bring it all together for the final takeaway, which is really all about feeling empowered through knowing your own body.
You know, it's also so important to just acknowledge the emotional side of all this. Whether you're trying to conceive or trying not to, the hormonal shifts of perimenopause can feel like a total roller coaster. If you feel confused or overwhelmed by it all, that is completely normal, and you are definitely not alone in this. So here is your empowered action plan, step by step. First, just acknowledge the fact that conception is still possible. Let that sink in. Second, if it's your goal, track your cycles to find those unpredictable fertile windows. Third, really focus on nourishing your body with that kind of anti-inflammatory diet we talked about. And finally, don't wait. Seek out professional guidance sooner rather than later.
Because really, that's the whole point, isn't it? Understanding what's happening in your body during perimenopause, knowing that your fertility doesn't just switch off like a light, that is a form of power. It gives you the power to make informed choices, whatever those choices may be. So the real question is, now that you have this knowledge, what will you do with it?